Today, we're going to talk about something kind of wild, those invisible forces that can really truly shape our lives. Yeah, I'm talking about the words of our parents that just linger. We're going to figure out how to finally turn down the volume on those echoes and reclaim our own voice. So let me ask you this. You ever mess up something small and then, bam, you hear this super critical voice in your head and it sounds a whole lot like one of your parents? Yeah, you are definitely not alone in that. Maybe it sounds a little something like this. You drop your peas, and that thought just pops in. It's this sharp, familiar sting that feels like it's coming from way, way back. Or maybe it's this little whisper of doubt that stops you right before you're about to try something new. You know, these voices, they feel so real, so powerful, but they're not. They're just echoes. And today, we're going to learn how to finally change the station. So where in the world do these voices even come from? Well, they kind of form this invisible script, a set of rules and beliefs that we live by, a lot of times without even realizing it's there. Let's put a name to it: parental echoes. These are literally the phrases we heard over and over and over again as kids. And our brains back then, they were like little sponges, just soaking everything up to learn how to survive. So these words didn't just go in one ear and out the other. Nope, they became the blueprint for our adult inner critic. The process is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It all starts with words spoken to us. And with enough repetition, we start to internalize them. They become part of our own inner monologue. And then eventually, they harden into these core beliefs about who we are and what we're capable of. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to walk through 9 pretty subtle signs that these echoes might be running the show in your life. And as we go, just, see if any of these ring a bell for you. All right, here we go with the very first sign. And I have a feeling this one is going to feel instantly familiar to a lot of you. Do you find yourself saying, "I'm sorry" all the time? Like for needing help, for having an opinion, for just taking up space? This usually comes from a childhood where you learned that being good meant being quiet and small and not causing any trouble. So apologizing just becomes this automatic reflex. But here's a really simple but honestly life-changing shift. Try swapping out "I'm sorry" for "thank you." So instead of "sorry I'm late," try "thank you for waiting for me." This little tweak can start rewiring your brain to focus on gratitude instead of constantly feeling guilty. Let's look at these next two together because honestly, they're two sides of the same coin. Constantly looking for approval, that's often just your inner child still trying to get the validation they didn't get enough of. And having this deep, paralyzing fear of making mistakes, well, that's super common if your errors were met with judgment instead of being treated like a normal part of learning. So what do we do about these? Well, for the approval seeking, you have to start validating yourself. At the end of every single day, just acknowledge one thing you did well. And to fight that fear of mistakes, start reframing failure. It's not a final verdict on your worth, it's just feedback. It's data for your next try. Okay, this next group of 3 is all about your personal worth. So struggling to say no, that can often be traced back to being taught that everyone else's needs matter more than yours. Overthinking every single word before you say it, that can come from having your opinions shut down or criticized. And that awful guilt you feel when you just try to relax, oh yeah, that's a classic echo telling you your value is based only on what you produce. And here are the mindsets you need to break free. First, remember this: boundaries don't push people away. They actually protect your energy and your relationships. Next, remind yourself, your voice, your perspective, it's valid and it deserves to be heard. And please, please internalize this. Rest is not a reward you have to earn. It's a vital, non-negotiable part of recovery. Okay, this next one. This one is a really big deal. It's kind of the one that sits at the very heart of almost all the other challenges we've talked about. Yeah, this is that deep down nagging feeling that you're just not quite good enough no matter what you accomplish. It's like this empty space inside that no amount of success can seem to fill. And this echo comes directly from a childhood where love and praise were conditional. They were given out for good grades or for being quiet, but they could be taken away just as easily. This right here. This is the essential shift we all need to make. The echo says your worth is conditional. It's tied to what you do, how you perform. But the truth? Your worth is completely unconditional. It's based on the simple fact that you exist. That's it. And here we are, our final 2 signs. Avoiding confrontation at all costs. that often comes from growing up in a place where any kind of disagreement felt dangerous or ended in punishment. And not trusting your own feelings? Well, that's what happens when you're told over and over that you're too sensitive or that you're overreacting. It teaches you to doubt your own internal reality. So the way forward is to totally reframe these ideas. Start seeing disagreement not as a war you have to win, but just communication. That's all it is. And start treating your emotions like your own personal guidance system. They're important messages, not mistakes that you need to fix.
So we've identified the echoes and we've spotted the signs. Now for the most important part of all, taking back the pen. Look, this isn't about blaming anyone for the past. This is about you reclaiming your present.
Let this one sink in, because it is a simple but profound truth. Those echoes, that was someone else's script for your life. It's a story about your past, but it is not a prediction for your future. It's not who you are. Your power is right here, right now, in this very moment. Every single day, you get to choose. You can listen to those old, tired echoes, or you can choose to amplify a new voice, your own. A voice that speaks with kindness, with compassion, and with a belief in yourself. The past is written, sure, but the future, that's a blank page. And just recognizing these echoes, that's the huge first step. So now, it's time to decide what comes next. What new story are you going to write for yourself, starting today? The pen is in your hand.